Alright, have another Beyblade unboxing. This is on Fang Leon turn 460 Unite, or LeonFang as I'll call it since I prefer the Takatomi style of name, but yeah, here it is. Well, the box anyway. So this is kind of a weird case where I'm not entirely sure if this is supposed to be like mainline or not, because this is certainly the anime accurate color scheme of LeonFang, but the part selection is still very underwhelming. You would have expected more, so I'm not sure to make of it. Hasbro released this first, so I figured I'd get it, and anyway, I guess we'll just go ahead and open it up. Alright, so first up we have the instructions, which I always just show for whatever reason. We also have a launcher, but it's one of these Hasbro ones, so not very good. But moving on to the bay itself, we have kind of the new part here, which is Unite, which isn't a new part, like, actually, but it is new for LeonFang. So you have the bottom here, part that doesn't really stick out, even though everyone thought it would. It's kind of just like an alternate taper in a lot of ways. Not the best either. Got the extra burst resistance there. It's in kind of like an indigo-ish color. Looks decent. Then we have the Ratchet 460. Got the translucent black and the transparent plastic in the center there. It's 460. Old part that we've seen many times. Then we have the assist blade turn in black. Of course, this outer part here can flip around for attack and defense. It's kind of this like glitter thing going on, so I guess that's kind of cool. Then we have the Leon lock chip with this kind of dark gray plastic, almost has like a brown tint to it, but there it is, the, I guess, proper look at the Leon motif in CX. So nice. And lastly we have the Fang main blade, have the gold plastics and black detailing. Looks good. Have these like sharp edges here on the main blade, so that's just kind of a four-sided shape, nothing overly interesting about it. Let's go ahead and do the part weights now, starting with Unite at 2.17, 460, 6.3, Leon 1.74, Turn 5.87, and of course Fang at 30.34 grams. Looking at the blade as a whole, it is 37.92 grams, so fairly heavy. And the full combo is 46.36 grams, so again, decently heavy, so that's it for the part weights. Alright, so let's go ahead and start putting the bay together. So first up we have the actual blade. LeonFang turns. This is definitely the proper color scheme for LeonFang, it seems like, which is, again, very odd. I don't know what they're doing with this bay. Will there be another version from Takatomi? Who knows? But for now, here's what we got. So that's interesting. And then for the full combo here, we have LeonFang turn 460 Unite. So yeah, there's Hasbro LeonFang. Doing comparisons to the previous two Leons, we have Leon Claw. Definitely spot some similarities here. Different colored bits, but that's pretty consistent with the entire Leon line, so nothing too unusual about that. Then we got Leon Crest, again, certainly some similarities in the color scheme, but very different as they are, well, different types. Different colored bits, of course, as per usual. And then comparing to the other LeonFang here, again, very different in terms of color scheme. and of course a different bit. Excel versus Unite, so... Again, no clue why it's like this. Couldn't tell you, but we'll have to see if Takatomi ever releases another LeonFang or not. So with all that said, I guess we'll go ahead and start doing the ratings for this thing now, which will be an interesting discussion, as I've already done LeonFang ratings from the red version, so I gave that one a 7 out of 10 aesthetically, which I'm going to actually maintain for this one. I personally prefer the red version just as a Bay with a color scheme, but for Leon, I think this one is better. They're pretty close, but I'm going to give it a 7, because even though I like the other one a bit more aesthetically, again, this one makes more sense for Leon, so I think just calling it a tie is fair. Conceptually, however, I gave the other one a 3 out of 10. I said it was pretty boring, and I was hoping that they would do more in a future LeonFang re-release. As for this one, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. I don't like it much at all. Again, it's the same base, so it doesn't really do itself many favors. Again, turns reused. 460 is fine, I guess, but I just wish there was more going on with this bay. Again, I really wanted a unique assist blade for LeonFang. This isn't Hasbro's fault, that's on Takatomi. It just doesn't help the case here. The reason why it goes lower, though, is the Unite bit. I don't think this is a good choice at all. Aside from just being kind of a boring choice for a bay like this, I kind of liked that LeonFang was using an attack bit, not a balance bit. I think the design of Fang lends at least decently to a more aggressive bit, and Unite just doesn't really achieve that, so we're kind of left in a somewhat awkward spot. Like, if they didn't want to make a new bit, they could have just thrown, like, Rubber Excel in this thing. You could say it's weird, but I think it would have worked fine. Certainly aggressive, which I think Leon could have actually played into. I guess my bigger issue here is actually more so thematic over anything else, as Leon and Phoenix have both consistently shifted types. Phoenix going from attack to stamina to defense, and then Leon from balance to defense, and I thought it'd be attack, but apparently back to balance in a fairly uninteresting way. So I'm just not a fan of how that was handled. I think it should have stayed attack. Again, there was plenty of bits to choose from if you wanted to not make something new. My main focus on this thing was just that it didn't have a unique assist blade. I guess you could argue that turn actually makes more sense for a balanced type LeonFang, but I just think Fang works the best as an attack type and should have had an assist blade to reflect that, as well as a bit, which it doesn't here. So it's not really the most interesting bay, however. It is great that we have a more accessible LeonFang as before. It really wasn't very accessible at all. And the only different part here is the bit, and both bits are pretty easy to get regardless, so it's not a huge deal. So yeah, it's not a very interesting bay, but it at least looks decent and does feel like a more proper follow-up to Leon, so I think it's still a solid pickup regardless. It's just not what I would have hoped for. So I guess now I'm going to wait to see if we get a third LeonFang. A version from Takatomi that's more like this color scheme, but with maybe some proper part choices. We'll see. But I think that's all for this video, so thanks for watching, and bye-bye.